All right, got the recording started. All right, well, thanks everybody for coming. Today we are going to be doing a session called You've Got Mail. My name is Bruce Botts. I'm an instructional design specialist here at CTAT. So we're going to actually talk about a couple things as far as working with links within content area of courses and how that can actually affect the amount of mail that you guys are going to get in your mailbox. For instructors, we're always getting emails that come in saying, I didn't know something needed to be turned in. I didn't know where to find it. I didn't know what I needed to do. So one of the things that we're going to actually do with this, and this is going to allow, is for us to actually be able to cut back on the amount of mail that we are actually getting in our mailbox, because if we set stuff up and we have consistency with it, and it's easier to navigate, students won't be emailing as much to be able to ask, wanting to ask as many questions about it. So I'm going to start here with the presentation, start going through it. So the main thing we're going to talk about today for the objectives of this, talk about navigation, for course navigation for students, consistency, which is a big thing that we need to make sure we're consistent with where our students, we're telling them where to go and what they need to do, and then also quality. Quality is going to kind of come back and actually work in two different aspects for us. The first one, if the students have everything readily available for them, they're not going to be in a panic and be rushing and stressing trying to find where they need to go or what they need to do. So hopefully they can spend more time on that paper, that assignment, or whatever it is they're doing. So hopefully we'll get better quality work out of them. And then also, because of the fact that everything will be the consistency, and with the course design on that, we're going to actually have better quality courses. Because of that, where it'll be easier for the students to find it and be able to go through it. So as far as consistency, there are a lot of different things out there that I looked at. I was doing different types of research. The research-based web design and usability guidelines that are actually provided and were created by the U.S. Health and Human Services Department, they actually state in there that having a consistent design principle with the same information located in the same place across the web is actually essential for ease of use, which is a big thing for our students. And then there was a survey by Young and Norgard from the Internet and Higher Education. And in their survey, when they were sending it out, they actually found that 91.7% of students who responded to the survey agreed or strongly agreed that all online courses should follow a consistent structure so that navigation does not change from one online course to another, or it would be the same thing even if we have stuff in the classroom we're going to be presenting, we're going to be working stuff and doing things in there. And then also the next one down here with the Hickson, Barsick, and then Rostenberg and Buckmeyer with online learning, they actually found that experienced online learners that it was important for the navigation throughout the online and course components to be logical, consistent, and efficient, which is actually what we want for our learners, so we have the same thing over and over so they're not hunting for stuff and they know where it is. Portland Community College actually did a survey, and one of the things that they actually found in their survey when they were doing it, they did this over a course of, you can see here, from 2011, 2012, and 2013. And they created questions based off of course consistency, and they were wanting to look at layout, navigation, design, and how the students actually thought that affected them. If you'll see here from the data, starting in 2011, from the students that took this, 4.3% disagreed and said that the online layout and design didn't really have anything or any effect with it, but 46.9% actually said, yes, this is actually something that is important to us, that we strongly agree that it's actually important. And as you go through 2012, the strongly disagrees went down, strongly agrees went up, same thing in 2013. Considering that during this time is really when more online learning was starting to become more and more prevalent in courses, as technology's improved and more people are using technology and doing stuff with technology, especially for online courses, this number, I would assume, would probably continue to grow up as more people are doing online stuff. So it's definitely imperative that we actually have consistency in the navigation layout for the courses, so that way the students know where they're going and what they're actually going to be using and doing. For navigation, we have a couple different things that we see commonly here at Run State. This is an example of the old nav bar that I just took a picture of this. A lot of people still use this type of nav bar in their courses. So they actually have these links for the course home, content, Dropbox, discussion. Some people call them that. Some people actually rename them and call them other things. So the students come in here and find stuff. Or the other thing that we have is these drop-down menus, which is what we actually have by default when we have set up now. So when students go into courses, they see both of these. They see sometimes a combination of the two. Sometimes they see different things from either of these pictures where people have set custom stuff. So by doing that, we're not really giving consistency, and the navigation is completely different. So students are actually having to hunt and find stuff. This drop-down menu that we have that's up here now for the navigation, this is going to be really important that we use this, especially with Daylight when it starts coming out for the new version here in the next year or so, when we start switching to it. Because of the responsive design of Daylight, when a student changes from like a computer to a smartphone or some type of a different device, the screen's going to actually like shrink down. So it's going to come from the right-hand side and actually shrink down towards the left of the screen. So if we have the old type nav bar that was up there, it would actually put them all into drop downs. So the drop down is going to actually be what the default's going to be and what everybody's going to be using at that point. This will give everybody the chance to actually have more consistency in the course so the students know where to go. Because we have different nav bars, different layouts. Students are always wondering and asking, where do I go? What do I need to do? And not only do they email the faculty, I didn't know that was supposed to be there. I didn't know I was supposed to go here. I didn't know I was supposed to do this. We get a lot of calls here in CTAC for it also. And usually the students are saying, I didn't know I was supposed to do this, or I have an assignment due, but I can't find it. Where do I turn this in? So by having the navigation similar and the same in all the courses, we can actually eliminate part of those calls and emails that students are sending and be able to cut back on all of our emails, as well as give the student a better experience and hopefully be able to allow them to more of a chance to succeed here at college and in their courses. For most of the courses here, the standard navigation, when you come in and you actually go into the content section, what you're going to have here is just an assignment or maybe a link somewhere to an external website or a PowerPoint. Most of them don't really have links or anything else in there besides just the basic content items though. So students have to, if they look at it, they have to figure out where they're going to go. Like this is the thing from one of my courses, it's Word Chapter 1. It talks about the introduction to Word. There's actually 2 assignments that are associated with this. Some people put something similar in here and talk about weekly assignments or maybe a Dropbox associate, or not Dropbox, but a discussion board and Dropbox. They may have a quiz for that week. So it's just a very basic information as where to be able to go in and what they can get. Whereas they come in, if we're consistent across the board, we looked at the nav bar earlier. We have different types of nav bars with the drop downs and the other ones. This type of layout here gives the ability, you can see we have the assignments up here for what the actual Word Chapter 1 assignment is. We have a link directly to the discussion. We have a Word Project 1A and a Word Project 1B Dropbox where they can actually submit their files from here. And then we have a link down here at the bottom for them to be able to go to where they're going to take their quiz. This is an external link that's linked out to My IT Lab. This is a publisher site, but you can link out to that, or you can link directly to a quiz that's available and being offered in D2L, so they can go directly to that. So again, they can link out to the discussions. They can go directly to the Dropbox to submit their files from the one page, and it's going to be a quick access for them to be able to get to their quiz. So they're not having to hunt to say, okay, is this in Dropbox? Where's this information located? It's all right here, so it'll be easy for them to get to and easy for them to be able to submit and be able to put things in that they need. So far, does anybody have any questions on that? I'm not seeing anybody typing or any questions so far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually log in and show you guys here in a course. When you come into your course, if you come into a course as an instructor and you come in here and you actually go into your content area here under materials, go down to content, and we're set up as a content. Here's an example of week 1 that I have for my current class I'm in. You can see here, I have the actual posts from what their homework's going to be, links to the Dropbox, and then links to for where their exam is. So I'm going to come into chapter 2 and actually go through where to click and what to do, because it's really simple to add these. So when you come into your content section, what we can actually do on this, if you come in here to add existing activities, we're going to create contents. You'll see here we have discussions, Dropbox, quizzes. So we can easily come in here and be able to link out, click Dropbox, click what you want. This is going to be Word Chapter 2, so I'll just click on it, and it'll add a Dropbox link right here. Now notice when you do that, it does put it in as draft, so you will have to go in and actually put it published so the students can actually see it. If you don't have this created, the other great thing about it is I can come in here and I could do new, and I can have down here discussion, Dropbox, or quiz. I can actually even create an assignment right here for what I want the Dropbox assignment to be. So it gives you the option to be able to come in here to actually create it if you don't already have it created, or it gives you the option to be able to link out to what you already have here in your Dropbox. It only takes a couple seconds, especially if you're copying stuff forward. You already have it set up. Maybe you just want to change what's in there. So you can come in here, just select what you want, and have it set up. If you want to use the quiz in D2L, you can go from here. If you want to actually use an external link, then you can come in here and you can just do create a link, name it what you want to call it. Just do My IT Lab. And then all you'd have to do is put in the URL. And if it's something external, what I generally do is, so it's not confined to this little space, I usually go ahead and say open as external resource. That way it actually opens as a new window or as a new page, so the student can actually get in there to be able to get to it easier, and it's not shrunk down just within D2L, especially for external links. You just type in the URL you want to put in, and it'll go from there. Got a question here from Dr. Sutton that says, what if it is something I want to add to the gradebook? Can I do that from using the new button? When you come in, you create from the new button. When you're saying gradebook, I'm assuming you're assuming Dropbox or something to that matter. If I want to come in, I'll just go ahead and just do a new Dropbox assignment. So I'm just going to enter a title here. I'll just call it test for this course. And then opt for the instructions. Let's just say submit. We'll say late assignments here, just so it's something we have it. We'll publish it. That way it's out to the students. Once we get to this point where it's actually clicked here, we have add grade items. You can actually click here and be able to add your grade item. So you can say how many points it's out of. So let's just say we're going to pick this one out of 100 points. And if you don't have a current grade item in gradebook, you can click the plus symbol right here and actually add it at that point. So like you were asking Dr. Sutton, you can go in, you can actually add a grade item from right here and be able to set it up. So I just created a Dropbox assignment, as well as went in and was able to add a grade item from right here as well in the gradebook. So you can do all of this from just the content section without actually having to go into Dropbox and create Dropbox assignments. Go into gradebook and create your gradebook assignments. You can do it all from right here. I'm going to go ahead and cancel out of this one. If you do submit it and you do put it in here and you do create it in this, one thing about it, you still have the option to come into Dropbox, and you'll see right here, when I just created it, it will actually come in here and actually create it in Dropbox. You can still access it from there if you need to. So just the ability to be able to go in and do that, you still have the old way to go into access, even if you create it from there instead of having to go back and forth either way. So any other questions on how to create the item or anything on that? I'm trying to kind of go fairly quickly today just because of the time that we have from other stuff that's going on. All right, Tracy, Janet, Kathy, Matthew, Stephanie, Susan, anybody have any other questions? some people typing here in the chat, so just make sure that we answer any of the questions that anybody might have. All right, I'm not seeing any more questions come in, so I think that pretty much wraps up what we were going over. So again, just a way to be able to make things in the course more consistent and be able to actually help the students be able to navigate and be able to find things easier, and hopefully cut down the amount of email that we get from students asking questions about it. Thank you, everybody, for being here and for attending.